Hey students, Mr. Roberts here. We are doing our proportions review. It's a green paper that you picked up as you walked into class today. Or you can find it linked in Schoology. So let's get ready to do some proportions. Let's move on. All right, since this is a review, you can refer to your notes for things if you need to. We are talking about proportions today. And it's a review. We already talked about it. So we're going to look at some of these proportion questions here. And let's see here. So we're going to be playing around with this idea of proportions. I'm setting up proportions. Now, once you set up the proportion, you can use whatever strategy that you feel like is your go-to for solving these types of questions. Now, we talked about ratio tables. We talked about using the proportion. There's a few different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to go through the strategies, like on a couple of these questions, and I'm going to turn you loose on doing the rest of them on your own. So Isaac and his friends pitched four trekker tents in 60 minutes on a camping site. How long will it take to pitch 5 tents? Now, let's look at this question. What are the two things being compared? So we're going to be looking at tents to minutes. Okay, so we have these 4 tents, and then it took them 60 minutes to put them up. And we want to know, how long is it going to take to do 5 tents? So that's where my X would be, is because it's how long. We want to know how long it is. So we could use the proportion way to do this if we wanted to, and go 4x, because 4 times x. And then we can go 5 times 60, which is 300. Then we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So we're going to go 300 divided by 4. And let's see what that is. 300 divided by 4 is 75 minutes. So it would take 75 minutes to put up these 5 tents. So that's one way of looking at that problem. You can use the proportion to do that. In fact, a lot of you probably are getting really good at using that proportion to do that. Let's look at the other way to do this. The other way to do this is to set up a ratio table. So, as you guys know, we've practiced this many times. We need to find a simplified ratio for our key to do it. So, if I want to do this question, I'm going to go 4 to 60, and I'm going to simplify that. So 2 goes into both of those. That becomes 2. This becomes 30. 2 can go into this also, and it becomes 1 and 15. So we have a ratio of 1 to 15. That is also a unit rate. It's 15 minutes per tent. So now I want to know how long it's going to take me to do 5. Well, how did 1 turn into 5? Times by 5. Take the 15, times it by 5. You get 75. So we know that we have 75 minutes. So it is up to you which way you solve these problems. But you need to be very good at doing this. So make sure that the strategy that you're choosing is one that you really, really like. Eventually, I will restate this. You'll get to the point where that proportion way is the way that you'll want to do it. A lot of students I'm seeing are doing it this way right now, and that's great. But as you get into 7th and 8th grade, this is probably where you're going to want to go. It's a little bit more quick. You don't have to draw a table, but it's up to you at this point which way you want to do it. Let's see. I want to look at number 4, because number 4 is a question that it deals with totals, and I want to really go over that, because you have to use some reading skills on some of these questions in order to know what to do. So let's read this question. Mike completed an online course that contained 20 core topics in a total of 40 learning hours. How many topics did he complete in 12 hours? So here we go. What are the two things that we're comparing here? Well, it looks like core topics and hours. So I'm going to just call it topics and hours because, you know, the core and the learning, yeah, they're part of it, but we're really talking about the topics to hours is what we're doing here. So let's set this up. What do we know? We have 20 core topics for 40 hours. And we want to know how many they have to do in 12 hours. So how many topics in 12 hours? So there is your setup. Let's start with the ratio table this time. Okay, so we started out with 20 to 40. So we can simplify that by using the cake method. 20 goes into 20 once and it goes into 40 twice. So we have a 1 to 2 ratio. And we want to know how much it goes into 12. So 2 times what is 12? 6. So 6 times 1 is 6. So I have 6 topics in 12 hours. Okay, so you can use that ratio table. We can also go back and we can use that proportion. So let's erase what we have here and see if we come up with 6, because that was the answer. So we will do our cross multiplication here. 40 times x is 40x. 12 times 20, I use my calculator. 20 times 12, I get 240. Oops. Divide by 40. Divide by 40. Or I can just ignore these zeros and go, what is 24 divided by 40, or by 4? So the answer is 6. So we have 6 topics is the correct answer. Don't forget your labels on these. All right, should we do one more of these? All right, so let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 says, Alexa bought a pack of cookies for $3.50 from the supermarket. How many packs of cookies can she buy for $17.50? So we are comparing cookies or money to cookies is what we're doing. So we are comparing money to cookies. So Alexa bought a pack of cookies for $3.50 from the supermarket. How many can she buy? Let me look at this. All right, so what do we know? So, and the reason I'm going over this one is because it looks like there's not a number, but we'll look at it. So we have $3.50 for what? What did she get for that $3.50? A pack of cookies. Well, how many is a pack of cookies? 1. So now we want to know how many she can get for $17.50. Okay, so this is a unit rate right here. The $3.50 to 1 is a unit rate. So all we really have to do is divide. Well, we could divide here to get it, or we'll look at the ratio table and I'll show you that way. So we know that there's a $3.50 to 1 ratio, and I am trying to get to $17.50. Well, I, in my mind, have a hard time seeing how many times 350 goes into 1750. So I am just going to use division. Yeah, I'm going to go $17.50 divided by $3.50. And I know that that's times by 5. So I'm going to times the bottom by 5, and I get 5. So the answer is 5 packages. Okay? So you can use that way. You can also use the cross multiplication way if you wanted to, and it would give you the same thing. So let's look at the back side of this paper now. These are word problems that you're just practicing that proportion. And now let's take a look at the other side. And those were more story problems, so setting it up. This side right here is just practicing doing it yourself. So again, you can choose which way you want to do these. It's just a matter of self-preference. So I'm going to go through this and do it a couple of different ways, just so you're seeing it multiple times here. First of all, I'm just going to set up a ratio table. Now, is that 2 to 5 simplified? It is, so I can use it. And I know this is 12, and I'm trying to get that other part. So how did 2 turn into 12? I times it by 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So I know n equals 30. So you can use that way, or you can use this way. 2 times n, 2n, 5 times 12, 60. Divide by 2, divide by 2. I get n equals 30. So it is up to you which way you want to do this. Oh, and by the way, once you get that 30, you're going to go up here and find the number 30 in here, and I can see it right over there, right there. It is I, so I'm going to write an I on 30. Okay, so that is what you're doing on this paper, and look and see if there's any other 30s. I don't see any. So you're going to answer the question: what should the Jolly Green Giant receive? And then also, why did it take the goat more than 3 hours to finish a 20-page book? So there you go. I think you guys can handle those. We're just practicing. It's a review, practicing that ability to do proportions and that ability to either use a ratio table or the proportion method to solve these questions. So if you need help, ask your teacher. We're here to help you as always. You can, again, refer. I would have you refer back to your journal to look at some notes that you wrote down about proportions if you need some help. And good luck. Till next time.